Section 4.3, solving equations by factoring. Anytime we're solving equations, we've got to set it equal to 0. In this case, you can see from this example in the title, it's a standard form quadratic, x squared plus bx plus c. And to be able to solve it, we've got to factor that into smaller pieces. The pieces of equations are things such as a monomial. You know, mono means one. A monomial could be something like 3x squared, or even 7xy to the third. But there's no operations, there's no plus or minus in there. A binomial has two terms. So typically we see things like x plus 7 in parentheses, or 3x minus 1. They could be more complex. You could put, a 9 x squared to the y minus 1 also. They could just be more complex monomials. And of course, trinomials, those are the things that we just graphed in standard form. So you have an x squared, an x, and a constant. Again, the idea of factoring is to make them smaller and then to solve them. Okay, so moving down towards example 1, we did a little bit this year. When you do the FOIL method of multiplying two binomials, x minus 3, x plus 2. And the FOILs are the multiplication method to get, so we're going to do x times 2, 3 times x, and 3 times 2. So the f would be the x times x, which is x squared. The outsides, that's the x, and the 2, that's 2x. The I is the negative 3 and the x, that's negative 3x. And the L, the last, negative 3, positive 2, is negative 6. And of course, when you do FOIL, you always get these two terms that will always combine. So you get x squared minus x minus 6. Okay, well, now we're going to factor backwards, and they call it reverse FOIL. And since this is a trinomial, 3 terms, it's going to become two binomials like it started up at the top here, okay? All right, so let's look at a couple examples. As you do these more and more, they get easier. You catch on to some of the tips and the shortcuts to help you get, especially the signs, to make those easier for you. All right, the process of factoring, for example 1, x squared minus 9x plus 20. First thing I always do is I build my two binomials. Just put the parentheses in there. Now for these are, I call these simpler trinomials. The x squared is, there's only a 1 in front, there's no other coefficient. So these get a little easier. So the first step is to take that x squared and just break it into the x's, x and x. That part's done. Now the 20. Got to get all the factor pairs of 20. So the list looks like this. It's 1 and 20, it's 2 and 10, 4 and 5. And some combination of these pairs will be used to go into the right side of the binomials. And then we'll just go through trial and error to try to get back to the original equation. The things I look at is I see that we're trying to get a negative 9x for the middle term. So I want to look at my list of pairs here to see which pair, when I add or subtract them, give me 9. So 1 and 20, I add and subtract that, I get 21 and 19. Yeah, that's not going to give me 9, so I cross that out. 2 and 10, I add and subtract 2 and 10, I get 12 and 8. Nope, no 9. 4 and 5, I add and subtract. If I add them, it's 9. That's good. And 4 and 5, subtract them, it's 1 or negative 1. I like those choices. Then I put those numbers into the binomials. It doesn't matter where they go in this case, 5 and 4. Now the signs. Looking at the original equation, you have a plus 20 and a negative 9x. To get a plus 20, they both got to be the same sign. The 4 and 5 got to be both positive or both negative. Well, if I make the 4 and 5 both pluses, and when I do my foiling, you know, the x times the 5 and the 4 times the x, that's going to give me a positive 9x. So I do not want to do that. I'll try negative. So when I do my outsides and insides, I get negative 5x, negative 4x. That gives me a negative 9x. So to check it, do the FOIL, what you just came up with. X times x is x squared. Outsides, x times negative 5 is negative 5x. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. And negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20. These combine to give us the negative 9x, x squared minus 9x plus 20. Let's try letter B. Again, first thing, pairs of parentheses. X squared, when we get x squared, multiplying x times x. Simple so far. All right, the 12. List all factored pairs. 1 and 12. 1 times 12 gets me 12. 2 times 6. 3 times 4. And I'm trying to get a 3. Well, 1 and 12, that's 11 or 13, that's no good. 2 and 6, that gives me a 4 or an 8, that's not 3. 3 and 4, I get a 1 or a 7, that's no good. Hey, guess what? I can't factor this equation normally. There's a way to do it later, but for now I cannot do it, so I'll just give the old empty set. Again, it'll happen later, but right now we can't do it. All right, try some other ones down below. Again, first one here, x squared and 18. Build the parentheses. X squared can only get there by x times x. 18, the pairs, 1, 18, 2, 9, 3 times 6. All right, 1, 18. 1 plus 18 is 19. 18 minus 1 is 17. That's not 3. 2 and 9 can be 11 or 7. That's not a 3. 6 and 3, if I add them, I get a 9, but if I subtract them, I get a negative 3. So I like those numbers. And because I just have x's in these two, I can put the x and the 3 and the 6 anywhere I want. Because 3 times 6 gives me 18. All right, now the sign for the 18 is a negative. The only way to get a negative here is if this 3 or the 6 is negative and the other one's positive. How do I know which one to do? Well, this sign will always go with the bigger number between the 3 and the 6. That sign's negative. Well, I'll make this negative here and make this positive, because negative 6 times positive 3 gets me the negative 18. That's good. So I'll go through all the FOIL to make sure that it works. X times x is x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. 3 times x is 3x. And negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. Combine those, you get x squared minus 3x minus 18, and it works okay. We'll do 2 more, then you guys can try some others on your own. All right, here we go. So now I have an n, 7x, no big deal. I'll still start by building my 2 sets of parentheses. Put the n in here and the n there. To get to 9, you have 1 and 9 or 3 and 3. So 1 plus 9 is 10, 9 minus 1 is 8. That doesn't give me negative 3. 3 and 3 does not get me to this 3. It's either 6 or 0. And so with the information we have right now, we cannot do this. We cannot factor it. We will be able to later. Number 3, again, building the parentheses. Letter R this time, so R and R. 63, factors of 63, geez. How about 163, oops, and 3 and 21, 7, 9. Oh, quickly, I see 1 and 63 won't work. 3 and 21 gives me 18 or 24, that doesn't work. 7 and 9. Add them, you get 16. Subtract them, you get the 2. So there we go. That'll work. So stick the 7 and 9 in. Again, when this constant here is negative, then this sign will go to the bigger number. So with that in mind, it's negative. That's a positive in front of the 2, so the 9 gets the 2. I'm sorry, the 9 gets the plus, and the 7 gets the subtraction. And we'll just do FOIL to check it. R times R is R squared. R times 9 is 9R. Negative 7 times R is negative 7R. This is an R here, sorry. And negative 7 times 9 is 63. That becomes a 2R, so it's R squared plus 2R plus 63. And there you go.